Brittney Griner just said something that left Patrick Bet-David absolutely stunned. After everything she's been through, after being freed from a Russian prison cell, after the United States traded the merchant of death himself to bring her home, Griner sat down and complained about the one thing most professional athletes dream about: packed arenas, roaring crowds, fans who actually care. She called it toxic. And Patrick Bet-David wasn't about to let that slide. What happened next might be the most brutal reality check in sports media history. Because while Griner was talking about how fan noise makes her uncomfortable, Patrick reminded her of something she seemed to have forgotten. Not long ago, she wasn't hearing cheers or boos or even criticism. She was sitting in a foreign prison, facing the possibility of spending years locked away. The contrast couldn't be more stark, and the message couldn't be more clear. Here's what really happened, and why this moment matters more than just one athlete's complaints. The WNBA is experiencing something it's never seen before. Real growth, mainstream attention, historic revenue numbers, and at the center of it all is Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation who's literally changing the economics of women's basketball. But instead of celebrating this moment, Griner is pushing back against the very thing that's making it all possible: the fans. If you believe the story behind the story matters, if you think perspective and gratitude should count for something, hit that like button right now. It tells us you're paying attention to what's really happening in the WNBA, not just the surface-level drama. Let's start with what Griner actually said, because the exact words matter here. During a recent interview, she described WNBA games before this season as so calm and quiet that you could literally bring your laptop and get work done during the game. Think about that image for a second. Professional basketball games where the atmosphere was so dead that fans were checking emails instead of watching the action. That's not a flex. That's an admission of failure. That's a league struggling to survive. But now things have changed. Arenas are packed. Fans are loud. The energy is electric. And Griner's response, she called it toxic. She said there's this loud rumbling from the stands. Thousands of people just sitting there. As if passionate fans showing up to support women's basketball is somehow a problem. As if the thing that makes sports worth watching, the crowd energy, the atmosphere, the sense that something important is happening, is actually a negative. But it gets worse. Griner went further. She claimed she saw father and daughter in the stands during one game, and even though she admitted she couldn't hear what they were saying, she assumed it was either criticism about her performance or what she called light racism. Let that sink in. A professional athlete playing in front of excited fans automatically assumed the worst possible motives behind their presence. Not that they were there to watch great basketball. Not that they were excited about the sport's growth. No, she jumped straight to assuming racist undertones. Many of you have been saying this for weeks. Something doesn't add up here. The WNBA is finally getting the attention it deserves, finally seeing real fan engagement, finally experiencing the kind of growth that creates opportunities for everyone in the league. And yet some players seem almost resentful of that success, almost uncomfortable with the very thing that's elevating women's basketball to new heights. Patrick Bet-David saw right through it. He didn't hold back. He reminded Griner of the most important context she seemed to be ignoring. She was in a Russian prison. The United States government negotiated her release by trading Victor Bout, a convicted arms dealer who was literally nicknamed the Merchant of Death because of his role in plotting to kill Americans. That's the price of her freedom. That's what it took to bring her home. And now she sits in an American arena, free to play the game she loves, surrounded by fans who are genuinely excited about women's basketball for the first time in the league's 25-year history. And her response is to complain about the noise, to suggest that fan enthusiasm might be rooted in racism, to frame the WNBA's biggest breakthrough moment as somehow toxic. The disconnect is staggering. But to understand why this matters so much, we need to look at the numbers, because this isn't just about one player's perspective. This is about the entire future of the WNBA and whether players will embrace the opportunity in front of them or push it away. Caitlin Clark changed everything. The data proves it. When Clark plays, ticket prices soar. When she was injured for just 2 weeks earlier this season, the market collapsed. Indiana Fever games in Chicago saw ticket prices drop from $86 down to $25. Washington games went from $41 to $14. That's not a minor fluctuation. That's a market responding in real time to star power, to fan interest, to the thing that actually drives professional sports success. Clark isn't just talented, she's transformative. She's fourth in MVP voting as a rookie. She draws comparisons to Steph Curry because of her range and shot-making ability. She led Iowa to consecutive national championship appearances. Her style of play, her competitive fire, her ability to perform in big moments, it all translates to one undeniable truth. Fans want to watch her play. And here's what that means for everyone else in the WNBA. Rising tide lifts all boats. When Clark drives ticket sales, everyone benefits. When television deals improve because ratings are up, everyone benefits. When merchandise flies off the shelves, when arenas are packed, when the league projects reaching a $1 billion valuation for the first time ever, everyone benefits, including Brittney Griner. So when Griner frames fan enthusiasm as toxic, when she suggests that the attention Clark receives might be motivated by racial bias rather than pure talent and marketability, she's not just missing the point. She's actively working against the very thing that's creating opportunities, raising salaries, and finally giving the WNBA the platform it deserves. You were onto something when you notice this pattern. It's not just Griner. There's a larger tension in the league between players who embrace this moment and those who seem resentful of how it's happening. Patrick Bet-David called it out perfectly. This isn't about protecting anyone's feelings or avoiding difficult conversations. This is about recognizing reality and responding with gratitude instead of grievances. The WNBA has struggled for decades to gain mainstream attention. Players have fought for fair treatment, better salaries, more media coverage. And now, finally, it's happening. The breakthrough is real. The numbers don't lie. The opportunity is historic. And the catalyst, whether anyone wants to admit it or not, is Caitlin Clark and the fan excitement she generates. Every cheer matters, every ticket sold matters, every television viewer matters, because all of it contributes to the league's growth, to higher salaries, to better opportunities for current and future players. Complaining about crowd noise isn't just tone deaf. It's counterproductive to everything the WNBA has been working toward. Patrick Bet-David didn't just call out Griner's comments. He exposed a deeper problem, a lack of perspective, a failure to recognize the magnitude of this moment, a tendency to focus on grievances instead of embracing the incredible opportunity sitting right in front of the entire league. Let's filter out the noise for a second and talk about what's really happening here. Drop a comment below. Do you think Griner's complaints are legitimate concerns? Or does she need a serious reality check about what she has? We want to hear your take on this, because this conversation is bigger than just one player's perspective. Think about what professional sports actually are. Every major league, NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, they all thrive on intense fan engagement. Crowds yelling, cheering, sometimes even hostile. That's the job. That's what athletes sign up for. That's what makes the games matter. Home court advantage exists because fans create an intimidating atmosphere for visiting teams. That energy, that noise, that passion, it's not a bug in the system. It's the entire point. Michael Jordan faced intense scrutiny and jealousy throughout his career. Players resented his success, questioned whether the attention he received was fair, complained about the preferential treatment they perceived. But Jordan's talent was undeniable, and his star power lifted the entire NBA to unprecedented heights. The same dynamic is playing out now with Caitlin Clark. Her impact on the WNBA is measurable, undeniable, and transformative. Reading between the lines reveals something uncomfortable. When Griner suggests that fan enthusiasm for Clark might be tied to race, she's making assumptions about motives without evidence. Patrick Bet-David addressed this head-on. Yes, race might play some role in visibility and marketability. That's a reality across all of sports and entertainment, but Clark's talent is what drives the numbers. Her performance, her style, her competitive fire, her ability to hit shots from anywhere on the court, that's what sells tickets and draws television viewers. The resentment some players feel toward Clark isn't unusual. It happens in every sport when someone transcendent emerges, but the facts remain. Clark is fourth in MVP voting as a rookie. She's earned every bit of attention she receives. Her impact on ticket sales, television ratings, and merchandise isn't manufactured or artificial. It's real, it's measurable, and it's benefiting everyone in the league. Connecting the dots reveals the larger stakes here. The WNBA is projecting a $1 billion valuation for the first time in its 25-year history. Television deals are improving, salaries are rising, opportunities are expanding. All of that growth is fueled by fan engagement, by excitement, by the very thing Griner is calling toxic. Every complaint undermines that momentum. Griner's timing couldn't be worse. Just as the league hits its stride, just as mainstream success finally arrives, she focuses on perceived problems instead of embracing the opportunity. Instead of helping lift the WNBA to new heights, she's questioning the foundation of that success. The fan enthusiasm that's driving everything. Many of you have been connecting these dots for months. You've watched the WNBA transform this season. You've seen the sold-out arenas, the television coverage, the social media buzz. You've noticed how Caitlin Clark's presence changes everything, how her games feel different, how the energy shifts when she's on the court. And you've also noticed the tension, the resentment, the resistance from some players who seem uncomfortable with how this growth is happening. Patrick Bet-David's reality check cut through all of that. He reminded everyone what actually matters: perspective, gratitude, recognition of the extraordinary circumstances that brought Griner home, and the historic opportunity now in front of the entire league. His message was clear. Someone who truly understood what she went through, who truly appreciated her freedom and the platform she has, would be celebrating every moment, every cheering crowd, every loud arena, every sign that women's basketball is finally breaking through. This isn't about demanding blind loyalty or refusing to acknowledge real issues. It's about proportion. It's about recognizing that complaints about fan enthusiasm in a league that struggled for decades to generate that enthusiasm reveal a fundamental disconnect from reality. Let's be clear about what happened in that Russian prison exchange. Victor Bout wasn't just some random prisoner. He was convicted of conspiracy to kill Americans, conspiracy to provide material support to terrorists, and illegal arms dealing on a massive scale. He was called the Merchant of Death because of the scope and severity of his crimes. And the United States government traded him, gave him his freedom, to bring Brittney Griner home. That's the context Patrick Bet-David emphasized. That's the reality Griner seems to have lost sight of. She went from a prison cell in a foreign country to playing professional basketball in front of enthusiastic fans on American soil. And her response is to complain about the noise. The brutal honesty of PBD's reality check resonated because it highlighted something many people feel but hesitate to say out loud. Gratitude matters, perspective matters, and when someone has experienced what Griner experienced, when they've been given a second chance at the life and career they love, complaints about crowd noise don't just seem petty. They seem fundamentally disconnected from the magnitude of the gift she's been given. But this goes beyond just Griner. This is about the future of the WNBA. Every player in the league has a choice right now. Embrace this moment of growth and opportunity, or resist it. Celebrate the fans who are finally showing up or complain about their presence. Recognize that rising stars like Caitlin Clark create opportunities for everyone, or let resentment and jealousy undermine the progress. The stakes couldn't be higher. This is the WNBA's breakthrough moment, the moment they've been working toward for 25 years. And it's happening because fans care, because excitement is building, because star power is finally translating to real economic impact, pushing back against that success, questioning the motives behind it, complaining about the very thing that's driving growth. It's not just misguided, it's dangerous to the league's future. Patrick Bet-David delivered the message the WNBA needed to hear. Not everyone will like it, not everyone will agree. But the truth doesn't require universal approval. The numbers speak for themselves. The opportunity is real. And perspective, gratitude, and embracing this moment are the only rational responses. If you think Patrick Bet-David was right, if you believe Brittney Griner needed this reality check, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit that notification bell. We're covering the stories behind the stories in the WNBA, the moments that reveal what's really happening beneath the surface. Don't miss what's coming next, because the conversation about the WNBA's future is just getting started. We'll be breaking down the real impact of Caitlin Clark's rivalry with Angel Reese and what it means for the league's next evolution. At the end of the day, this moment exposed something crucial. The WNBA is thriving, fans are engaged, revenue is growing, opportunities are expanding, and the players who recognize that, who embrace it, who appreciate what's happening, they're the ones who will shape the league's future, the ones who resist, who complain, who focus on grievances instead of gratitude. They're missing the point entirely. Patrick Bet-David reminded us all that perspective isn't optional. Sometimes the harshest truths are exactly what we need to hear, and sometimes a reality check, delivered with brutal honesty, is the most valuable gift someone can receive.